Hey, friends! This time we're looking at some movies based on an epic poem. That's right, Beowulf. So, let's say you never heard of this thing. What's it all about? Well, the story of Beowulf goes like this. Back in 520 AD, there's this here Danish king, Hrothgar. He builds himself a giant mead hall, a sort of banquet hall, where he and his warriors can drink mead, feast, sing songs, tell tall tales of their heroic exploits in battle, and put the moves on the servant wenches. But they make so much noise with their revels and carousing, they annoy this evil troll spirit dude named Grendel. See, Grendel is sort of like a Twitter user, in that he doesn't want anyone to have any fun. Grendel comes down from his mountain lair and kills a bunch of warriors. He keeps doing this for like 12 years, and no warrior seems to be able to stop him. Then along comes our hero Beowulf and 12 of his followers. Beowulf is a larger-than-life hero in the old-school tradition, who is a prince from somewhere in Sweden. He's kind of like Jason of the Argonauts or Hercules or something like that. He takes on Grendel and, spoiler, defeats the monster by tearing off its arm. Ugh. Then he has to face Grendel's mom, who's not too happy about what Beowulf did to Grendel, and she's even more powerful. Our hero saves the day yet again. Flash forward some 50 years, and Beowulf is now a king in his own right. Things are cool until some dope steals some gold from our dragon's lair. Said dragon awakes and goes all smog on Lake Town, so to speak, on Beowulf's kingdom. So once again, Beowulf has to don his armor and kick ass, even though he's an old man. Ass is heroically kicked, although Beowulf croaks. The end. Beowulf is one of the most epic poems in all of English literature, because it wasn't written by the Swedes or the Danes, but Anglo-Saxons in England. Nobody knows who wrote it, but it was probably written down long after someone came up with it. Anyway, this story has been turned into movies, and we're going to take a look at 3 of them, starting with the one you're probably the most familiar with, the Robert Zemeckis feature Beowulf from 2007. Now, this is a picture people seem to either love or hate. It plays a bit fast and loose with the source material, although it is more or less faithful on the main points. This is a truly heroic telling of the tale taking place with a larger-than-life hero and supernatural forces he has to fight. However, Beowulf is depicted as being deeply flawed. This one was made using all CGI and is completely animated. Not only that, it was made by real actors using motion capture, and those actors were given their own likenesses in the animation. One of the criticisms I recall hearing at the time was, why bother with this? Why not just photograph the actors for real? Another problem was that characters in these mocap movies give off an uncanny valley vibe. True, the animation here looks like cutscenes from a video game, but to be fair, Beowulf was an achievement for its time, and some of it holds up quite well. One ridiculous element here is that Beowulf fights Grendel without any armor or weapons, as he did in the poem, but he also fights in his birthday suit. So the animators had to go to great lengths, shall we say, to make sure some object or other is always in the way, covering up his crotch. This was released in 3D, and you can see the holdovers from that, like with this spear point or things being thrown at the camera. In our cast, we have Ray Winstone as Beowulf, Anthony Hopkins is Hrothgar, Crispin Glover is Grendel, and Angelina Jolie is Grendel's mom. She's all in CGI, so you don't see anything, despite her not wearing any clothes. Oh, darn it. Zemeckis had previously made The Polar Express in this process and went on to make 2 more of these motion capture mocap monstrosities, the Jim Carrey version of A Christmas Carol and Mars Needs Moms. I do like this version of Beowulf though, despite the liberties it takes with the story and the animation being a little dated and wandering through the uncanny valley. Next up, we have Beowulf and Grendel from 2006. This is a weird co-production between Canada and Iceland. It looks like it was shot in Iceland, and that's fine with me as it gives us a different landscape we don't always get to see. In this one, the supernatural elements have been toned way down, so Grendel is not really a supernatural force per se. He's more like a really strong warrior. He is a troll, so he's not exactly human, but he isn't a demon either. Grendel's mom is a sort of water monster, but again, not full-on supernatural. There is a chick who has precognition, so there is some kind of mystic element in this world, but it's very low-key. This one also plays a bit fast and loose with the original material, and only covers Beowulf's battle with Grendel and Grendel's mom. But I did like it. It's kinda different anyway, and I can certainly recommend it if you want a more real-world version of the story. Gerard Butler plays Beowulf, and he's about the only big-name brand here. Finally, we have this abomination, Beowulf from 1999. This is a weird take on the story. It's set in a post-apocalyptic future, so there's some technology, like they have loudspeakers and intercoms in the castle, but no light bulbs or anything like that. They do have some gas laid on to light these torches, though. Here, Beowulf fights his way into Hrothgar's castle to battle Grendel, as Beowulf can sense evil. There are some sexy chicks, but not much to see, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Grendel is murdering people, so Beowulf has to fight him and deal with Hrothgar's soldiers, and the sexy MILF demon turns into a terribly rotten-looking CGI dragon. Grendel is always shown with a purple CGI blotch over him, and that's augmented by a crappy CGI blur effect to hide the fact that the monster suit is laughably bad. None of that works. The only big-name star here is Christopher Lambert. Oliver Cotton played Hrothgar, and Charles Robinson from Night Court is here too. This movie is the worst thing in the history of ever. This version was made in Romania, and no one enjoyed that. It was supposedly going to have a budget of $25 million, but was made with only $3.5 million. And it shows. Now, I still like that Zemeckis one from 2007. That's at least 2 3/4 paws, and the one I'll recommend. But the 2006 one is alright too. That's easily 2 1/4 paws, I guess. The 1999 one with Christopher Lambert, well, it's different, but not very good. That's like a paw and a half. Best avoid. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.